Good afternoon. It's great to be in your company. This festive season, while the city sleeps, the taps may too. Johannesburg residents are being warned to brace themselves for intermittent water supply as Rand Water switches off two of its most critical pumping stations for essential maintenance. From mid-December through to early January, the flow that keeps this city alive will slow and in some places stop altogether. Let's ask why now and who will be affected and how should residents prepare themselves. I'm joined to answer some of those questions by Rand Water spokesperson Makenosi Maroo. Good afternoon and thank you for your time this afternoon. Tell me about the extent of the maintenance work being undertaken by Rand Water and why it's being carried out at this time of the year.
Good afternoon to Lasizo and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, indeed, we are undertaking maintenance. We are taking it in different phases. And the reason why we are deciding to take maintenance during this time of the year, there are two main reasons. It's because we know that it's rainy season, so the system will be able to recover quickly. But the other reason is because we know that the demand for water at this time of the year is quite low. And maybe the third reason that we know that a lot of people are leaving the Gauteng province, which will be the province that will be impacted by the maintenance. So we know that most of the industries are closing down, most of the companies are closing down, people are going away. So that means the demand for water is quite low during this time of the year.
So as far as I understand, the two critical pumping systems that come into play that may be affected one way or another is the Suikerpoort and Makenosi. What is the extent of the impact on both of these and the works that you are carrying out on both of them?
Okay, the Stakeholder will be the water treatment plant. So this is where we are doing maintenance. So hence the two systems will be impacted, your Makenosi and your Palmit. But Palmit is the biggest system, hence different municipalities will be impacted. So the three metros will be impacted. We're talking about city of Johannesburg, we're talking about Ekurhuleni, we're talking about Tshwane, and some parts of Northwest, particularly Madibeng. Those are the municipalities that will be impacted. We have communicated, we have reached an agreement with different municipalities that should the impact be severe, there will be water tankers around to be able to supply water to residents.
I'm interested, as you mentioned, that including parts of the Northwest, and you mentioned Madibeng, it's a municipality with a history of difficulties as far as water is concerned. You're saying that you've reached agreements with these municipalities as partners because, of course, at the end of the day, they have to partner with you given the work that you have to do. What's the extent of that partnership and agreement with these municipalities?
For example, in Ekurhuleni, this morning we went around, we saw that they are supplying tankers. They have actually communicated different areas exactly where the tankers will be. Johannesburg, definitely we know that they will be supplying. We haven't gone there physically to see. Madibeng, let's be honest, it's not really impacted. The maintenance is going to end tomorrow at 4 a.m. That is the first phase. Then we'll be able to see in terms of the recovery period, which areas will be impacted. Obviously, the high-lying areas will be the ones that will be more impacted. Hence, I'm saying we are going to drive around, see exactly which areas are impacted and communicate to municipalities. But also, they'll also be able to give us feedback in terms of what residents are saying. We are also monitoring our social media platforms and really sharing information from that point of view.
As you do this maintenance, Makenosi, what is the lead time in terms of recovery of the systems once you've had to undertake that work for them to then fully be working at maximum capacity? How long does it generally take and what are the implications downstream for these areas and cities and municipalities that are supplied by these systems?
Look, different systems recover at different times. Also, it depends with how much the system has been depleted, let me put it that way. So if one area is using a lot of water, obviously the system or reservoirs will be depleted. So hence we're saying it's difficult to say it will take this particular time. But just to give a rough estimation, we would say about 48 hours. Some areas it will be a period of 72 hours, which will be 3 days. So different areas are impacted differently.
So if I understand you correctly, you've already started carrying out this work? What does it look like rolling out over the coming weeks?
Yes, we have started the work. We are almost at completion. The work is on schedule. So for this week, we are saying tomorrow the work will be done at 4 a.m. Then it's the recovery time. We give it 2 days. Then we'll be moving to the second phase of the project, which will start on Friday, the 19th of December. We'll also be monitoring up until Sunday, the 21st of December. So here we are also working on valves on different pipelines. The communication will also be going out to different municipalities and different customers. Then we are going to have a third project which will be happening in January, from the 6th of January 2026. So for now, it's up until tomorrow. And then the next phase will be from the 19th of December up until the 21st of December.
All right. So let's talk about lessons that you are factoring in. You undertook massive maintenance, I think around autumn building into the winter of this year around your systems. I imagine that there are certain lessons that you are learning about the efficiency with which you can carry out this work while minimizing the impact on customer municipalities and by extension, residential and industrial customers. What are some of those lessons and how are you factoring them into this work right now?
I think the key lesson that came out, actually 2 lessons that came out, one is very important to manage expectations. We need to communicate because we cannot postpone maintenance. Yes, it's an inconvenience, but a necessary inconvenience. So it's important to go ahead and explain and communicate so that we're able to manage expectations and municipalities come on board and assist where there are challenges. But the second one is more of timing. It's important for us to check the timing when we conduct these maintenance. For example, we know that in Gauteng, as I indicated, the province, there is depopulation of the province during this time of the year. People are going to their homelands, people are traveling for holidays. So timing is very, very important in terms of allowing for the system to recover. But also we're saying the reservoirs, they have to be filled to capacity. While we're doing work, we'll also be able to supply municipalities. Obviously, there will be intermittent water supply challenges, but we are able to supply and we are able to communicate, and also timing. Those are the 3 factors that we have learned over the past few years.
Lastly, Makenosi, how far do you go with your stakeholder engagement initiatives? Do you go beyond just the engagements with the water authorities in the municipalities, your Joburg Water and the likes? For instance, those institutions that cannot afford to be without water, your hospitals, your old age homes, do you go that far? And what's your message to them as well as residential customers as you undertake this work?
Our stakeholder engagement, firstly, we start with our primary customers who are municipalities. We ensure that we communicate, we give them ample time for them to prepare so that they have to minimize disruption. So there are contingency plans in there so that the customers who are quite key, for example, we're talking about schools, this time of the year where schools are closed, but we're talking about clinics, your hospitals. That's where we're saying we communicate at the secondary level, but mainly we focus on our primary customers who are municipalities. They in turn will engage their key customers who are residents, who are key municipal departments, also key functions, your clinics. Those are the primary functions. So we in turn support municipalities. Municipalities will have to look after their own customers, but also we are there to support where there is a need. If municipalities are struggling, we are able to assist, whether it's with water tankers, whether it's support that they need. We are always there for our customers.
All right, let's leave it there for this afternoon. Thank you for that. That's Makenosi Maroo, Rand Water spokesperson, talking about some of the work that they'll be undertaking, taking advantage of a certain degree of depopulation that happens, especially in the metropolitan areas around the festive season.